Hello, my name is Jacob Tonson, and welcome back to the Wisdom of Odin. Today, I am in Norway to go to Midgardsblot, because part of this exploration of the ancient past is also to explore how these ancient beliefs and practices are revived today. So if you don't know what Midgardsblot is, it's essentially a Viking metal festival with pagan themes thrown in there. There's going to be a bloat today. That's what I'm going to be showing with you and sharing with you. That's going to take place here in a few hours. And so there's also talks with speakers, and then of course the music as well, and then lots of mead and drinking and feasting at Norwegian prices. So before we move too much further, this video actually has a sponsor, kind of. The brand Old Norse, which was started by Kai Faust from Heilong. He's doing all the design, so this is actually one of the designs for it. And they reached out to me if I could promote their merchandise. And so I thought this was really interesting because, this is something I've been researching, is the Bronze Age sun cult stuff. And so this shirt has to do with the rising of the sun. And so I think it's really cool. And I've never had an official sponsor on this channel ever. And I'm not actually getting paid for it. They just honestly sent me the t-shirt. I mean, I think we all love Heilong. I mean, I think most of us here on this channel love Heilong. And I think a lot of us look up to Kai, especially with the rituals that he performs. And so the fact that he has given up the tattoo business and now he's doing these t-shirts and a few other things, and then of course still touring with Heilong, I think this is really cool. And the fact that, we don't necessarily all have to go get a tattoo to represent his artwork. And so I really think I wanted to take this and say, hey, it seems like they're a really good brand. I really like the Old Norse brand. And so if you want to support Old Norse, please do follow them on Instagram and support their work. I think you'll be really happy. It's a really nice quality shirt, and it allows my very sunny disposition to blend in with the almost exclusively black clothing here at Midgardsblot. And with that, I'm going to continue my explorations of the burial mounds here. And then later there's a talk about human sacrifice over here. And then we have the bloat as well. So lots to do today, lots to explore, and I'm here for all 4 days of the event. So now let's officially begin this adventure in Midgardsblot. So welcome to day 2 of Midgardsblot. Here's the festival grounds. It's early in the morning, so the festival doesn't actually start until around 3 in the afternoon every day. But I think I'll talk about the thing that you probably want to know the most about, and that is the bloat. How was the actual ceremony here? And both good and a little disappointing, honestly. Because I think a lot of us know Midgardsblot because we've seen these pictures in the past of people just absolutely covered in blood, like this deep, dark, rich blood, because that's what they actually use here. And I think that's one of the most alluring things about Midgardsblot is the ceremony. And this year, one, it was really hard to see. So I'll put up some footage so you kind of understand. Like, I had a really good spot. Like, no one was, like, there was like a person sitting down in front of me. I had great views of it. And then they put up this like human rope barrier, and then these cameramen come in, and then by the time all these people came in, I couldn't see anything. And it was really hard for me to get footage, even though I was like 2 people away from the front row. And so I can't even imagine if you're behind me or behind the person behind me, there was a couple thousand people here. So the bloat was right there. I mean, really cool area to be doing the bloat right next to Viking Long Hall. And it seems like the people that put it on genuinely care. 100% they care. There was a couple of guys, a few women. Essentially, they opened up the space. They called to the spirits. They called to the gods. All gods. Take that as you will. I think the best thing is that I'll just play a little bit for you of like some of the audio I was able to get so you can kind of get that experience.
Freya! Goddesses anywhere! And then Thor, please come be with us. Share a bit of that incredible strength of yours. Maybe some of the stubborn stuff as well.
Yeah!
There's one more. Loki. Don't make too much trouble, please.
And then they kind of open it up to everyone, which is really cool, because this has been my critique at other events, is I feel like it's hard for everyday people to participate in them. And so they do open it up, which also takes a very long time. And so they have these big like plant fans, basically small trees, and you're allowed to go up and put it in the blood and then smack it on the essentially, I think, Freya and Odin pole, but you know, a male god and a goddess pole, and then put some blood on yourself. And this is where I guess it's a little disappointing, because I talked to a lot of people that were here previous years, and I guess like again last year there was like this super thick, like crazy red blood, and this year it felt a little watered down. Now, did this mean they actually watered down the blood? Does this mean they, you know, it was just not coagulated well or something? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, most people, you can't even see it. I don't even know if I'll have a good example of it. But literally the most you see is like a little tiny red streak, and that was it. I left a little bit underwhelmed, and maybe that's because I'm getting jaded. I've been to so many different events. I've been to so many different ceremonies now. I've put on so many different ceremonies. I don't know, it wasn't as much as I wanted it to be. And I'm just being honest with you, because I want these vlogs to be honest, but I was a little disappointed. But that doesn't mean I was disappointed with the rest of Midgardsblot. I've actually had a really good time here, and a lot of it is just by socializing. If you're going to come to an event like this, you must be social. Also, the meat here is so expensive. I've officially had the true Midgardsblot experience. Paying $10 US for a little bit of mead. Hell yeah.
Nasty.
Oh man.
Welcome to Norway.
Norway. That is, yeah, that's a huge note about Midgardsblot. It is an expensive music festival. That's again why I'm volunteering, because it is a lot, you know, it's, you know, free to come. And then you get some meals for free, and then you get to camp for free, as long as you work 2 shifts. But man, it is pricey. So, you know, have a ceremonial mead just to say you could, and then bring your own beer, just not in the festival grounds. As far as other things I did yesterday, I did do the human sacrifice lecture, which was, you know, pretty tame for a human sacrifice lecture. But it was mostly just covering, you know, is human sacrifice a thing in the Viking Age? It is. And to what extent it was. I think the most interesting thing brought up by the woman doing the presentation is this idea of humans as objects. Is if you see a horse, you know, more in reverence than the human. Like, was a human actually a lesser offering than we put like credit to? Because it's like, you know, someone might have been more attached to their horse than their slave, and so the horse might have been a bigger offering, and so slave may have been kind of this objectified offerings, and only sometimes were they, like, you know, higher standing, so therefore seen as a greater sacrifice. Apparently this is controversial opinion, but that's you know, what was shared with us in the presentation yesterday, and the interesting thing I took out of it. There's something I don't know how to describe. You know, some of you are more privy to this than others. I don't know how much I'm going to show in the editing process, but in the main Viking Hall there was something called, I think, the Church of Pain, and they did rope suspensions with hooks. So they basically pulled someone up by the hooks, then they played a violin on the string attached to him. There was all kinds of things going on. You really have to be there to experience it for yourself, I think. Keep in mind, this is all still day one, because now we're rolling into kind of the night. There's metal music, lots of it. It's very loud. But the thing I did really enjoy, I'll put the name of the band if I can find it here, at the Long Hall after hours, so like around midnight, there was like an interesting throat singing, drum beat rave thing, is the only thing I can describe it as. And it was really cool. The energy was really high. Seeing everyone in the Viking Hall lit up, really beautiful. I mean, some people would find this, you know, sacrilegious maybe, because it's this traditional Viking Hall, but it has the loud music in there. It was just a cool vibe, seeing everyone just kind of dance and rave a little bit in a Viking Hall to some throat singing drum beats. It was really cool. And then after that, everyone head to the main camp, which is basically down the burial mound path. And then there's a bonfire next to the sea, next to the fjord. And everyone got there and just drummed, drank, and played bagpipes, which was interesting. That was day one. A lot of things happened, and I still have 3 more to go. I don't know how many more unique things are going to happen. I'll record them along the way as I experience them. But my first and initial impression of Midgardsblot is it is a wide variety of things. There is the pagan element here. It does exist. It's a little bit more passive than I expected. You know, so like the main bloat, and then I think there's a closing ceremony as well. And then if you experience music and drum circles in a spiritual way, you'll find it. But otherwise, you're kind of just left to your own thing. You know, it is a sacred space. You have the burial mounds, which is what I've been enjoying myself quite a lot. Just doing my own thing here. I've invited other people to do a little bit of throat singing and things like that. And it's been really nice. And then obviously you have like the god totems. But, you know, it's a surprisingly chill time. Again, socialize, and I think you'll enjoy yourself quite a bit. But much smaller. Like it's not as big, and it's a little bit more intimate than I expected. Most of the things I have been to have not been like 2,000, 3,000 people. It's been 50 to 100, if not less than that. So it's been a pretty intimate event. Now, something you do also have to pay for, but it seems like it's worth it, is the reconstructed Viking longship that you can row in. And funny enough, I was just here bathing, and I've been in Europe, so I was just bathing naked. And right as I finished, here comes the Viking ship around the corner with a bunch of people from the festival, including people that I know, right in the bay. I was there. Yeah. So glad I finished up when I did, but it's really cool. So there it is. I couldn't afford to pay for it, but that's what it looks like. Good morning, and welcome to day Friday, I think. This is Rasmus, he's behind me. We're hanging out together. And we both volunteered yesterday, and so mostly all of yesterday, I have nothing for you, because we worked, and it was hot, and it was like an 8-hour shift. 2 things. One, it's just like this guy has had like this teepee up for a long time, and had been working on this massive god totem, the Heimdall, basically a huge wooden statue. And it's got these like golden teeth. It's got a big golden horn, and it's really cool looking. So that's just, it was just really cool to see. So all the god totems are just everywhere. And then the other nice, really cool thing was Swulo. Was last night. I saw them briefly at Castlefest, but it was very briefly. And I wasn't able to see, when I saw them there, the Carnix, which is the recreated Celtic horn. And so as far as I understand, these are fairly rare and have only recently been recreated, and not by many people. And I've never heard it played live. And hearing that live, ooh, that was a good time. So I'll play that for you right here. So hopefully you can see, yes, that it was really cool. Such a haunting noise. I'm trying to think. Yesterday, I didn't get to see too much. Enslaved played last night for people interested in metal music. I didn't go because I was tired after my shift. But I heard it, and it seemed like it was a good time. One thing I guess I can mention is it is really casual how everyone hangs out here. I was sitting there watching Swulo play, and someone said, oh yeah, Ivar Bjornsson walked by. And then while I was just hanging out watching Swulo, Ivar Bjornsson walked by. And then like right next to me was also the band Calandra, and they were just hanging out watching the show. And for the most part, everyone respects everyone's privacy, it seems like. I'm sure people go up and say, hey, I like your music and stuff. But it was cool how everyone's just been able to just vibe and have a good time, hang out. And that's the overall experience. It's lots of hanging out, for me going to the burial mounds. And just a good day. And today we have a lot of events. I'm going to do some spiritual stuff, some spiritual people. And it'll be a good day. We'll see what we find, and I'll report back soon. Shocker, shocker, I'm walking through the burial mounds again. This is also just happens to be the best place to talk. So I just did a talk on the, well, I didn't do the talk. I witnessed the talk. It was given by a woman. I'll put her name here because I can't remember it off the top of my head. She gave a talk on sacred mountains in the Sami culture. But the main point of the talk was basically that the sacred mountains of the Sami have been renamed by the Norwegians, and through attrition and time, they've just lost a lot of the sacred names of their mountains. While there are some, many of them have just been lost, and the oral history is no longer there. So kind of a sad talk, obviously, when it comes to most talks on Indigenous people. But the thing that, you know, to take away from it, and the thing that I talked a little bit, I asked a question as well, just talking about what do we do now? You know, I can't commit to learning about every Indigenous culture in the world. I want to, but it just takes a lot of time and resources. So like, what can we do as just normal everyday people if we go to visit one of these sites, you know? It was kind of funny, you know, obviously trash, picking up trash, making sure you take away other people's disrespect and things like that. But like one of the things with Sami mountains is you don't pee on them. And so the speaker jokes, she's like, just take a bottle, don't pee. So it can be really quite simple. It's just paying respect, because there can be a lot of, I think, taboos, as she put them, as far as like bowing and reverence, you know, taking your hat off. Yeah, so I think the next thing I'm going to do here, I don't know if I'm probably not going to record it at all, is around here somewhere I'm going to do a little ceremony, because there's just plenty of really beautiful little spots here in the burial mounds. So I really wanted to just take some people out here. I know a few people here, and we're going to do a little ceremony here. So maybe I'll let you know how that goes. And then Skald is tonight, and Ein Herjar the band. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hello. This might be the last time we vlog together here. It's the last day. I don't know how much more we're going to see today. I think it's mostly bands. So don't know how much more I'm going to report on it. There might be a closing ceremony, I think. But regardless, we're closing in on the end of Midgardsblot. So some final notes from yesterday. It was mostly like a band day. Really heavy on the band. So we had like Skald played. Saw them. They were good. Nothing spiritual necessarily, but just entertaining and good. I don't know if many people knew this, but the band members almost completely changed and rotated. So the founders of Skald and the original members, I think maybe one of them is still a part of it. Otherwise, it's a completely new band. So I was curious how it was going to be, and it was good. They seemed to have a lot of fun, and so you know, therefore everyone else had a lot of fun. And I think that's what you want out of events. So it was a good time. And then the biggest, oh my gosh, it was amazing. I've always enjoyed Runehild's music for like trance. Like, I just think it's really good, just like trance-inducing music. But her music live, holy shit, it was awesome. Basically, it was in the Viking Hall, which was already cool. So it was much more intimate, and that's a big aspect here. Is if you have something at like the main stages, it's usually like the metal. It's usually really heavy. It's usually just like yeah, like you're just enjoying it. But the things inside of the hall tend to be a lot more intimate. And so the Runehild one was like this weird, amazing rave / like just like female vocalist say their magic thing that was going on. It was awesome. But yeah, the whole thing put together was just incredible. and she's clearly very, very humble and passionate about it. And it was really good. And it was one of those that you just had to be there to feel it. There was another band, I can't remember their name, I'll put it here, but they are the ones partially that put on the main opening bloat, and then they also have a band as well. It's definitely like a little bit more, it definitely seems like a thing that friends do sometimes in Norway. But it was good. I mean, there's a song literally where they just say Odin's name many times in front of a totem of a god. I don't think they specified which deity it is. But yeah, they're singing Odin's name. Well, this is a good point to end the video because the final evening has turned into flooding, as it has with most of Norway recently, but I think we'll survive and the hall will be okay. So most people are in here partying. I'm going to try to get some sleep. But final day, I mostly worked, but I really just want to give you my final review. I guess the ultimate question, should you go to Midgardsblot? Well, if you watch the whole video, I think you could probably decide that for yourself, but I definitely think yes. I think you should volunteer. I think volunteering was a really great way to get to know people and to experience this event and kind of see it, the insides and out, and then getting to, spend some more intimate time with everything. Yes, it's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. A lot of things I didn't expect to like, but I think my personal favorites after all of this has probably been Runehild. So seeing Runehild play, they played again here at the end. I only caught the tail end of it, but the energy that was created with this weird Sather rave, I absolutely love. So that, and then all the amazing people I've met along the way have definitely made Midgardsblot worth it for me. Again, I expected to come here and, see the bloat part and that be the coolest part. But I think that's just what attracts people on Instagram. Really, it's what makes it is truly the people and the musicians as well. All the musicians and all the performers I've talked to, which I talked to a lot of them, have been super, super, super kind. So thank you to everyone who talked to me, who shared with me their stories. It was a pleasure meeting every single one of you, both old friends and new. So I'm going to go get semi-dry, try to sleep, and not get flooded away. So thank you all so very much for joining me for this video, exploring Midgardsblot and this modern pagan revival we're going through around the world, and how it's existing here in Norway. The very last thing I will leave you with in this video is that apparently that gigantic Heimdall sculpture, you can actually blow the horn. So let's see if I can actually do it, because that's awesome. And it'll be a great way to close out this video. And honestly, I think it would be a great way to honor Heimdall, is to come up here to this gigantic mouthpiece and blow it and leave an offering for him. So I'm going to do that. I'm not worthy. I was not worthy.